Hey everybody, it's Matt Mayoko at NBC Sports Bay Area checking in after the 49ers 29-17 loss to the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. Completely eliminated from the playoffs. We knew that before the teams kicked off, and I just guess for good measure, the 49ers went out and decided, let's just show the world that we're not a playoff caliber team. And certainly they did not look like a playoff caliber team. More injuries, penalties up the yin yang, just not a good performance at all from the 49ers in this loss to the Dolphins. I just wanted to point out that this video is brought to you by Canyon Club Brewery located in Moraga. It's a beer garden, all kinds of variety of beer styles, menu items, and all the tasty bites. So check it out in Moraga, Canyon Club Brewery, and it's coming soon to the Livery in Danville. Okay, so the first thing that happened to the 49ers after they got officially eliminated from the playoff race was more bad news. Dre Greenlaw, I noticed him after the first series, and he was trying to, loosen up or running on the sideline. There was clearly something wrong with him. Turns out it was a calf injury. He's very down in the dumps, and it's the right calf. It was the left Achilles that he tore in the Super Bowl, had the surgery, and then it was the right Achilles last year that was giving him problems, and then it was the left Achilles that started acting up the week of the Super Bowl, probably because of overcompensating from the right Achilles. So last week he left the game against the Rams at halftime or in the second half with just knee irritation. It just didn't feel right. That's in his left knee, the surgically repaired leg. This was the right calf. So the Friars shut him down. And a couple of the players made note of this. They said, hey, sometimes they have to protect Dre, or we have to protect Dre from Dre, meaning that he wants to get out there. He wants to play, regardless of how he's feeling. He's going to try to tough it out. But it really seemed like Nick Bosa, Fred Warner were advocating for Dre Greenlaw, just shutting it down. So I would not expect to see him play again this season. I don't expect to see Trent Williams play again this season. He missed his fifth game with the ankle injury. And then Jalen Moore, he had to leave the game with a quad injury. So Spencer Burford went in and played left tackle for him. And you remember he was a starting guard last year for most of last season. And the 49ers had another injury to Aaron Banks, an MCL. So that's good news. Typically not a surgery required for an MCL injury, but his season might be over with 2 games remaining as well. And so Nick Zakelj stepped in, and he kind of looked like he played a role in the late game interception where he failed to pick up the stunt with Calais Campbell coming around, and Campbell hit Brock Purdy as he was throwing. The ball kind of flutters up there. He was trying to layer that throw over the underneath defender to Juwan Jennings, but couldn't get enough air under that ball, and it's intercepted, and that's basically the game right there. Kader Kohu ended up getting that interception. So this was a dreadful performance from the 49ers with the number of penalties, 11 penalties, 90 yards. One of the things George Kittle said after the game was, don't put that on the coaching staff. Don't put that on Kyle Shanahan. Don't put, the illegal formations on Leonard Hankerson. Don't put it on the position coaches. He says it's the players' responsibility to do the right things. They're coached up to do the right things. But, it's kind of tough in a game like this not to kind of spread the blame around, because the 49ers really didn't play well in any area of the game. The passing game was pretty good for most of the game until that late game interception. And then, the run defense wasn't good at all. Devon Achane ends up rushing for 120 yards for the Dolphins, 120 yards on 17 carries, including the 50-yard touchdown run. So let me just go through the injury report. So Dre Greenlaw, tightness in his calf. Sure, it's a concern. We'll see what happens there. But again, I just don't see the thought process in trying to get him back out there for either of the final 2 games of the season. I mean, I hate to say this, but it very well could be, for the 49ers, something that keeps Dre Greenlaw with the team, because at this point, with the injury history, what he's gone through, what he's battled through, I just can't see any team, and maybe even the 49ers, I can't see any team giving him a multi-year contract. He's a heck of a player, But with the injury history coming off the Achilles and now this, it's just a really difficult position for him to be in, trying to hit the free agent market and get a big time contract. Aaron Banks, I think he's going to be okay with the knee, but certainly not an ideal situation to end the season injured as well. Leonard Floyd had a shoulder injury. He came back into the game. Jalen Moore had a quad injury. He did not come back in the game. And then D. Winters had a chest injury. And so he'll probably, if he's able to go against the Lions on Monday night, look for him to start to see a lot of playing time. Fred Warner said he loves playing next to him. So D. Winters is a guy who will be on the field a lot. And a lot of these guys, the young guys, are having an opportunity right now to show that they're part of the solution and not part of the problem. Guys who are looking to really solidify their roles with the team for next season. And one of those guys is Ricky Pearsall. I mean, he's obviously going to be on the team next year, but the 49ers need to see something from him that he can be a big-time contributor and a top 3 receiver on this team. And he has shown flashes, and he did on Sunday against the Dolphins. He had 4 catches for 37 yards, all in the first half. However, he had a couple of illegal formation penalties where he didn't align up properly. Leonard Hankerson, the wide receivers coach, really tore into him on the sideline. We saw that. And one of those plays, one of those illegal formations, was a costly penalty because the 49ers would have had a 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. They end up getting pushed back. They don't convert the 3rd down and long play. And then Jake Moody misses a field goal pushes it wide to the left. And the 49ers go from a very likely touchdown to not even getting 3 points out of that situation. And so that was a key point in this game. If you're looking for, well, let's just go through the penalties. 6 penalties on the offense, including false starts from Kittle, Brindle, and Braden Willis. 2 illegal formation penalties, and then Aaron Banks had a holding penalty. And then defensively, some just inexcusable penalties. 3 unnecessary roughness penalties in the second half, including one on Jordan Elliott that would have been a 3rd and 7, ends up being a 1st down. But also Talanoa Hufanga, unnecessary roughness, and Diamador Lenore, unnecessary roughness, retaliating, and all those penalties pushed the Dolphins further down the field and ended up in points. Okay, so lot went wrong in this game, including they just couldn't get the run game going. They couldn't stop the run game of the Dolphins. A couple of bright spots. One would be they did a good job on Tyreek Hill, and give kudos to Renardo Green for the pass breakup in the end zone on a play that Tua Tagovailoa put it out there for Tyreek Hill. Renardo Green had very good coverage, turned around at the right time, and deflected that pass, forcing the Dolphins to settle for a field goal. But the other bright spot, well, Kittle. Kittle has been Kittle. Kittle's the guy that has shown up from day one and has produced at previous year's level this season. And he's probably the only star on this team that has produced at a high level, a level like he did last season. He's closing in on another 1,000-yard receiving season. He had 106 yards receiving on Sunday with 9 catches. And so he is 33 yards shy of the 1,000-yard mark. He continues to play hard. Fred Warner continues to play hard. I don't think those guys, those guys want to finish this season strong. I think they want to set a tone too for 2025. And I think in the case of Fred Warner, you see what happened with Devondre Campbell quitting last week against the Rams. I think Fred Warner is making a point to show everybody on that defense, and especially all the linebackers, this is the way a professional acts. This is the way he wants to finish the season strong. A guy who had a good game on Sunday, and we haven't been able to say that much in recent weeks, Deebo Samuel. His spot on this team is not guaranteed for next season, but he showed on Sunday that if he can play like that, if he can string together that kind of consistent performance, there should be a spot for him next season on this team. And so for the past 5 weeks, for most of the season, he hasn't been able to run the ball effectively. he did run the ball effectively, and he even had like an 8 yard carry wiped out due to a penalty. But he just looked different from the beginning. I've said a lot here that the hallmark of Deebo Samuel is that he would rarely or never be brought down by the first would-be tackler. This year, he has been going down by that first would-be tackler. But on Sunday, man, he ran with a purpose. And that play, the 16-yard touchdown catch that he had, where he basically ran over 3 guys at the 8 yard line and just willed his way into the end zone. I mean, he ran through Jordan Poyer, he ran through Javon Holland, and he ran through Jalen Ramsey to get that touchdown. So his line, 5 carries, 25 yards. Brock Purdy targeted him 9 times. He had 7 catches for 96 yards. So, there's not much to play for the 49ers as far as, the win-loss record. Their playoff hopes are over. However, I do think that there's an element of integrity and professionalism that they can still exhibit. And the world will be watching Monday Night Football as the Lions are trying to wrap up the #1 seed in the NFC. The 49ers are playing for pride, and we'll see what kind of pride they have. But it also might not make a difference because they're down so many players. Although, the Lions, they have a lot of injuries as well, and they have continued moving in a positive direction, and they're having an outstanding season. They still have their Super Bowl hopes alive. But the 49ers it just seems like every week more injuries that they had to battle through. But Deebo Samuel, a bright spot in this game, and we'll see what the future holds for him. As the 49ers, these players, a lot of the young guys, the veteran guys, they all feel like there's momentum to be gathered from this season, from the final 2 games. 49ers did not play well on Sunday. My report card littered with D's. I don't think I gave them any F's. I probably should have, but the overall performance, a D minus, and just every area of the team, not good at all. And so that's it. That's a story from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida, where the 49ers fall to Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins by a score of 29-17. And that is it for now.